Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Good morning and welcome to BSG at Home. And next for you we have a run by SatanicNerd of FEZ. Take it away.
Thanks, Charlie. This is FEZ, as you can see at the title screen. Let's just get into it. FEZ is a really cool platformer puzzle game. I just wanted to show this icon off. We gotta go FEZ. Which is also coincidentally the launch code you have to use in Steam to unlock this speedrun mode. So that's a neat little bonus for speedrunners. So here, this is kind of an introductory bit for all the platforming. This old man posts a letter to us. However, we're fast. We're immediately going to do all the platforming up. So the premise of this game is, we'll see in about 2 minutes, there'll be a big cutscene with aliens and everything. But first off, we're in this 2D world. So we're going to do some 2D platforming. Gonna see here immediately as me grab that corner. Corner grabbing will be a major part of being fast in this run or not. You can see me jumping straight up from a corner. We call that a corner kick, like that. What you do is you can kind of wall jump off a corner, but only away from the corner. But if you let go of the outward direction about a frame after you jump, you don't actually go into that direction, you go straight up, which is very neat, and it's way faster than the slow animation of climbing up. So here we see an old man with a fez. Coincidentally, in about half a minute, the donation incentive for wearing a fez will go offline. However, I don't believe that's been met, so it will just sit there in the background, not being worn. So that's too bad. But I hope you're all having fun with the marathon. This is some weird cube who's talking to us in a language we don't understand. Pretty neat thing about this game is actually everything is in English. It's just a different writing system. So there are areas in the game that have a Rosetta Stone to help you translate this. You actually have to, well, you don't have to. You can look up on the internet how to translate them. But you can definitely figure out on your own, if you really love the puzzle, how to translate everything. And you find out that every area has these texts and then you can read them all of a sudden. And this would be the moment to close the incentive. So...
Yeah, unfortunately the incentive hasn't been met. I'm really sorry.
Oh well. People can just look at what you've done. It's in the background. Here we learn that it's actually not a 2D world. We live in a 3D world, and we've just learned how to shift our perspective, and the game crashed. Psych, it didn't. Just the universe. The universe is fine. We learned how to rotate the world, and with that, we're gonna do something right now. This game, previously, when I ran this before, I mentioned cheat codes. However, I was a bit wrong on that. They're actually Konami codes. So what I just did was inputted a Konami code for this cube. And you can see the rotations of the room because the zooming in animation is fixed, so you cannot rotate. However, I inputted a specific code, right trigger, left trigger, which is rotation. So we rotated right twice, left once, and a bit more. Of course, these Konami codes are usually not things you know in your first playthrough. This game has a New Game Plus, and which is pretty cool actually for this game. In which case you unlock more features to figure out puzzles. Here we do a death warp, kind of. We already have a cube, so we can open that door prematurely. Here you'll actually see me input a Konami code. And that cube appears. Technically this cube shouldn't appear here, but we don't worry about that. We just grab it and be on our merry way. So our main character is actually called Gomez, not FEZ. And if you want that happy jumping animation he has, total follower plug, you can go to my channel to unlock that emote, because I have the channel point redemption very low. I actually forgot to do a small trick here, but it still worked out. Only saves about 0.1 seconds or something. So we're actually done with this first area. We grabbed almost everything that is to grab here. And we already opened this door, so we can go into it immediately. Dot is the little flying 4-dimensional hexagon with us that sometimes pops up and tries to be annoying. Here we'll actually see something we call it's not a teleport, because this game is a 2D game in a 3D world. What happens is, if you're inside of two walls and you rotate, the game cannot remember you're inside of two walls. It just, because you're not in the foreground, it immediately puts you in the background, and that leaves for some pretty cool, pretty much teleporting actually, that we do in a run, which makes this very interesting. Here there's a dialogue skip if you jump just far enough to the left. So we already got 4 cubes. I haven't even talked about the difference in cubes. The blue cubes are the puzzle cubes, the Konami code cubes, and the yellow cubes are the regular cubes. The blue cubes are called anti-cubes, and yellow cubes are usually platforming based, and they exist out of 8 little qubits. You see me gather one here. I have to pay a bit attention here in this loading screen. And a glitch could occur, but it didn't, so we are golden. Here we see the teleport happening. You can see here in this spot, to the left of me is a wall, to the right of me is a wall. So if I rotate while in that wall, the game puts me outside of the area. And we can do some cool teleports with that. On this bell you can actually see that's the number 3. This is the number 1. This is 6. And this is 10. So for 10, if you input the others correctly, you just mash it. It's kind of hard to count up to 10 and mash 10 times while the sound is happening in the background. Alright, we made that cycle, that's awesome. There you could see how slow the corner animation is, so we want to avoid that, either by jumping directly onto the platform or by doing the corner kick I was talking about earlier. Here we'll need to see one more teleport, and this is another puzzle room. These puzzle rooms are pretty neat to figure out, and also pretty hard. The speedrun has figured out a direct solution to these puzzles. So you can see on the side here there's Tetris shaped blocks, and you want all 4 sides to line up, and with some shifty turning around with momentum of the blocks, we just did that. But you can definitely still do these puzzles after having seen the run. They're very cool to figure out. The 3D nature of this world, while packed in a 2D world, is a real cool concept. Alright, so we just got our 7th cube. Oh. Okay, cool, we died. Yeah, this game... I'm not grabbing the corner. There we go. This game doesn't have health, so fall damage is kind of weird. You just die and respawn the last spot you were in. Some spots, however, if you fall down, there's water. And if you do that, like for example the bell tower we were at earlier, if I were to fall there, I'd have to climb all the way back up, because water doesn't kill you. Here is another teleport. We jump up while in the cave to end up in the back, and you can definitely see I was not that far to the left. But hey, and this room in particular is a beautiful teleporting room. It will happen real quick if I do everything correctly. And also because this world is in 3D while we are in 2D, our momentum is saved in 3D, But when you teleport, that momentum of course changes, because the momentum you have is into the foreground or background, which you can't really see. So momentum is real important when you're doing these teleports. Well, there we would go. I missed the corner. This is a kind of a weird corner grab, because you're grabbing a corner you're not really jumping into. Well, there's a trick here. You die, but when you open a warp door like that while dying, you don't die. It's pretty neat. So now we'll be entering the waterfall room. We'll be inputting another 2 codes. And if you're wondering, where do I get these Konami codes from? To the top of FEZ Gomez right now, you could see the pillar, which has some weird Tetris-shaped blocks on them. And those Tetris-shaped blocks are actually our Konami code. And somewhere in the run, while exploring the world, you figure out there is a stone that translates them for us. We'll actually see them. Let me just focus on this. Grabbing that platform, there we go. And then the moment you really figure that out is such an eye-opener. Alright, we're holding a bomb, don't worry. We can throw the bomb, but since there's no damage, we'll be fine. Sorry, Gomez. This is the infinite fall room. I just inputted the code while falling, so we have 2 cubes stacked here, which is pretty cool. This whole room is actually one of those Tetris-shaped codes. So yeah, we're coming up to one of the harder rooms to optimize in a run, which is the Cyan room, because it's very heavily cycle-based. And I jumped too early. So that's rip cycle. So I gotta focus now to be a bit faster. This is actually a tuning fork. This is also a really cool concept. There's also a Konami code set to this tuning fork. However, it's actually audio based. If you have your headset on stereo, you can hear either left or right, and that's actually the code you gotta insert, which is pretty cool. Alright, made that cycle. That's pretty cool. If you have to wait a cycle here, it's quite a lot of time loss. There's a very, very optimal strat to do this room. I'm gonna miss that cycle. Oh well. If the donation reader wants to read anything, because I just missed the cycle and the rest is just some platforming.
Sure. So we do have a $10 donation from Anonymous saying, "Go Serial ATA Network Interface Card, you can do it."
That's probably a nod to the universe crashing in the beginning, because it shows some weird fake PC stuff. PC stuff, great words. Specs. There's another cycle we have to wait for. It's pretty cool. The entire area here is based on sound. It's really the only one that does that. This game has some good music, and this area really, what's the word I'm looking for? Uses that to its max potential. We'll settle for those words. Anyway, we actually already have 13 cubes, and we're heading, or we want 32 cubes. The credits are locked behind the aliens that gave us 3D vision, and there is a specific door to enter their dimension, sort of. That's kind of what I make of it. It's quite cryptic, this game, and we have to obtain 32 cubes. Here, I'll nudge myself in the corner to do this. Jump around the corner. This is another cool. Well, most of the game is platforming, but this one has quite a lot of different ones. This area is another cool one, because YOLO. There are treasure maps around the world. which show you that there's platforms, but only in very specific orientations. So only facing this direction and that direction do those two platforms exist, which is a pretty neat platforming idea. We'll be seeing only 2 times more. So yeah, FEZ. There was a FEZ 2, maybe not. It's even a game on Twitch. However, yeah, there's not much to be heard from the devs, so that's very sad, because this concept is very unique and the puzzles because of that are very cool. Just casually to figure out, but also to speedrun some of the platforming you can do. For example, because of those teleports, this corner kicking, it makes the run quite interesting. And I haven't even talked about, there's an advanced corner kick, which is possible, but it's very hard. When I explained corner kicking, I said you have to hold the direction away from the corner and let go of it a frame after. About a frame, it's quite lenient. But for a reverse corner kick, you actually jump into the wall, and for that you need to both release the direction of the wall, but also hold the opposite direction immediately. And that's quite a tough input to do. So I've only gotten it like 3 times. But if you can get that consistent, you're well on your way to improve. Here's another weird corner grab. We grab the other side. This is the forest area. It has some great music. Really relaxing. I have a Word doc with all the Konami codes, because they're a lot to remember. Here's another cool teleport. Yeah, the platform is really interesting with this teleporting. This area is unique in the sense that it has these bouncing mushrooms. And hopefully we don't have to visit a mushroom twice. We have to now. This is the tightest jump to make in one go. And I missed the corner kick, but we're into the temple now. So that was the forest area, very quickly passing through. Here we'll see another instance of those invisible platforms. Well, you'll not really see the platforms, but you'll see me walking on air and actually grabbing the side of air. And I missed the platform there. That's one of the issues with blind platforming. You have to jump late, but not too late, because then you fall down. And here we get a treasure map. And this treasure map is actually really cool, because it is a QR code. And if you were to look in your inventory and scan that QR code with your camera, you'd actually get a code that is another Konami code, of course. And this is one of the tighter jumps. Got it, cool. Here's a teleport, not really a teleport, but a weird perspective shift that is really hard to get. Here you kind of shift in the foreground, background, and you move to the back. Thankfully I got a second try. This is another puzzle. This one's also really cool. I'll leave it to the viewers to decide if they want to know the solution or just... I'll not spoil this one, because I like this one a lot. Don't throw me into the background, please. Yeah, this game, because of the 2D, 3D interchangeability, sometimes your character ends up in spots you don't want to. It's a bit weird. Oh cool, we got black holes. Because we're messing, you can pass through it, but not if you do the balancing animation. Black holes appear because we're kind of breaking reality by knowing we can rotate. Input another code while collecting this cube, actually. That's more efficient. Oh, usually the anti-cube, the blue one, appears on top of the pillar, but this time it didn't. I don't know what influences that, honestly. But now, during this cutscene, I'll actually be inputting that Konami code we got from the treasure map. So when this cutscene is over, and in cutscenes you can't shift perspective, so that's too bad. You can't prepare the area for your platforming. You have to really wait till after to do that. And the following room is another QR code. However, this room is unique in the sense that we have already used this code. So we have to re-enter it for some reason, because it's the same code as in the very beginning, the monocle room. The monocle room is the room in the very beginning where there was a painting of a guy with a monocle. It was actually the very first code you could visibly see me input. This code here actually exists of 2 rooms with both 8 inputs. So it's a 16 input code, but it's one of the easier ones to remember for some reason because it has quite a set pattern to it. So already 23 cubes in. And we're heading towards the telescope. Now the telescope has this area has has a unique timing based thing actually. These levers, you can rotate them and they'll uncover, almost didn't make that, and they'll show these vines that have a timer to them, and you can actually see on the lever, it's like a lighthouse pattern. You can see the thing going back in, and actually here we hold on to it to maximize the timing. Alright, made it, cool. That timing based system, my jump input didn't register. This game allows you to jump very late. You can still jump after falling off a platform, but obviously I was too late there. Alright, telescope code. Cool. This telescope code is real cool because you can rotate the telescope. You can also rotate where you're looking with the telescope, and one of the directions also shows a Konami code. Surprise, surprise. But that's because the stellar systems, I forgot the name for them. The things the horoscopes are based off. They're actually the Tetris blocks, and each Tetris block displays a part of the code, as I mentioned before. Up here actually, this will be I mentioned the Rosetta Stone earlier. This is actually where you figure out what input is what Tetris block, because you can see in the background it actually made a sound earlier. It's a bit hard to find out now, but it's reacting to me. You could see the dots on it turning yellow, and it's actually showing you, based on your input, what part of their language you just performed. So that's how you'd find out in a casual playthrough. And we're already quite far in. Now it's just kind of cleanup and heading towards the final area. I didn't even speak about this. We just went through a warp gate. We went through it once before in order to make the movement around the world a bit easier. There are these warp gates, and we use them because there's branching paths in this world, and moving back through them would be very slow without these. So we're very happy these exist. We're now going to the Lighthouse area, and we're actually very unlucky that the black holes are here, because you can actually jump over from the warp gate towards this side and grab the vines above the door. However, of course, there's black holes in our way, so we can't. Okay, so this is the Lighthouse. We already input a code, but we'll grab that later. Don't worry about that one. There's another tuning fork here. There's actually one more tuning fork we don't get in this speedrun. As I mentioned before, there's 32 cubes in this game, or 32 cubes in a speedrun, I should mention. There's officially 64 cubes in this game, with a hidden 3, which actually makes the percentages of the completion of this game quite interesting, because for completing a new game, you need 32 cubes, and the game actually counts that as completing at 100%. However, because you have a new game plus with 64 cubes total, that gives you 200%. But even better than that, there's 3 hidden cubes which are actually hidden in game files. So to find them out was a real community effort. I only came after, so I only found out after. This room has a early cycle I can make. Oh, I missed the ladder grab, so I'm not gonna make it, or barely. But that actually gives a fully completed save file 209.4%, which is a weird percentage. And sadly, one of my save files got corrupted, because the incentive for the 0% completion glitch has been met, which is really cool. I'll be doing that after this run. It'll take about 3 or 4 minutes. But yeah, you need a completed save file for that. But my 209% completed file got corrupted, which is sad. Right, so we're heading into the very last few rooms. Like I mentioned, we need 32 cubes. Right now we have 29, as you can see in the splits to the right. A very cool feature of this game, speedrun mode. This teleport is also a bit finicky, but got it. This area is cool. We need this orientation, because there's platforms. And it's really cool if you can get this rhythm down, and of course, I grabbed the corner. But there we go. This is cube number 30. And we'll be dropping down all these. And we'll be taking another warp gate. These warp gates, they're all over, but we only use 2. This area you might remember from the very beginning. We'll be getting 1 cube from this weird little side area. It's a kind of... all these 4 rooms are kind of... strangely, this game also goes through time somehow, because this is a bit more futuristic area. The area we started in is our time, and in a minute we'll be heading into the ancient civilization. So yeah, somehow we also time travel in this already paradoxical world. So this code starts with an up input. However, up is also the input you do to go through a door. So I mash it in the loading screen to make sure it registers without me actually going through the door, because that would be slow, obviously. And now we're heading into the final area, the ancient civilization, as I was talking about. I'm gonna go drink a bit of water. Gotta stay hydrated. Here we'll grab 1 more qubit at the bottom to complete our 30-second cube. And with that, we'll be heading into the final area to unlock our credits. So the qubit, you can see it at the bottom of the screen right now. And here we get it. We get we have some text from Dot talking. Very interesting. Dot actually says we can finally open that 32 cube door. However, in this playthrough we haven't seen it before, so it's very interesting that Dot would know about that. We hear the music ramps up in audio. This is a warp gate to the other dimension. We can talk to Dot, who explains it's a stargate. And now we gotta wait a bit. There's quite a bit of cutscene now. It's very not really trippy, but it's weird. This audio gets a bit louder than the rest. And we'll see in a second. The screen will turn white, and exactly when it turns white, I'll input a jump to go into this area. This is the final area. It's actually key in the 0% completion glitch coming up in a second. We cannot do anything while this cutscene plays, so we gotta wait for a bit. So if there's anything the host wants to say, maybe donation or plug, feel free.
Yep, sure. We do have a $5 donation from Naked Tonberry saying, "Yo, showed up during a Satanic run."
Yo, Tonberry. How are you doing? Tell me on Discord, because I'm not reading chat. Right, so These are the weird aliens somehow, and they're tied to owls. Owls actually show up during the entire game. We haven't seen many of them. There was one flying by, but we kind of skimmed past that. Yeah, owls, I guess, because they can pretty much turn their head 360 degrees. They're part of game lore. So this area has some tight jumps we have to make. There's actually a cycle we can make, but I messed up the jump here, so we won't be making it. Cool, we grab that corner to do a quick corner jump there. I said before that grabbing a ledge and climbing up it is slow. However, in this area it's actually a speed tech, because the gravity is so low, we don't want to jump up all the way. So what we do is we grab a corner on purpose, and you can hear the game audio, at least for me, is ramping up, so for you guys it must be as well. This cube has a door on it, and we actually, because the jump I missed, we missed one entire cycle, but that's okay. And now we have to wait. This run doesn't end until the speedrun timer ends, of course, which happens after these cutscenes. This is kind of the cube we met in the beginning is going to check how many cubes we have. When you complete the game all the way, so 200% technically, this cube will be filled up with 64 cubes. However, we now only got, what was it, 10 anti-cubes? Or 11, I can never remember. But yeah, this is just a bit more cutscenes. And right after that, if you want to know how long it takes, I always kind of add 420 to the final split time, and that works out. So if you just add 420 to the 30-second split, you'll know if you're on PB pace or not. I was actually looking at it, and I could be on PB pace. But the problem is I don't remember what my PB is. I have a leaderboard time, but I also have a PB. And I think this might actually beat that. Alright, it definitely beat my leaderboard time. I'm pretty sure that's PB. The time ends, by the way, here when I leave my room, or you can see it in game. So cool. Alright, that's PB.
Congratulations.
Thank you. There's a weird pixelating cutscene here, and after that credits. And the credits are real cool, because Gomez will be playing the drums. However, I'll be doing a 0% glitch showcase as well. So for that I have to restart the game. Or can I change slot? Well, I can actually. I don't need to restart the game. Pretty cool. And actually we'll be doing this. We'll be doing a full run, which is 4 minutes. And what we need for that... Oh, we can't. Alright. That's not what I wanted. My game on my side is tripping out, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close it for a second. Because this is the devil's work. Not as if I'm not SatanicNerd, but... switching between speedrun mode and the opposite sometimes doesn't work, but we're back. Thankfully this game starts up real quick. Right. So the 0% completion glitch. What we need is a completed save file, and I already put us in front of the warp gate, which is convenient because that's exactly what we need. And this game has a wrong warp, and it's real dumb. What you do is you enter the final area. Just before entering it, you press start, change the game slot to an empty one, and for this run, there's also a timer bit, so we can do another countdown, because there's start new game, of course. So 3, 2, 1, start. Because this is we can't do this in speedrun mode, so we don't rely. This category is the only one that doesn't rely on the speedrun timer. And here, because we did a wrong warp, the intro cutscene is weird. Interestingly, because this loaded wrong, we can actually change perspective. And we can even move during it. However, movement in area you can't see that's constantly rotating is quite difficult. So I'll be just waiting, let the cutscene roll out. You'll see in a second I'll be moving here, but it's rotating too fast for me to even grab a ledge properly. Here you can see me fooling around a bit. You can see the game doesn't know what to do with me moving around. So that's why you can do movement here, but it's not advised. Oh, I almost grabbed that. You can still hear the game is trying to rotate. And because of that, the octopus are actually not yet moving as much. Okay. Here we have to deal with the low gravity still. But basically this area is just the final area again, but with a wrong warp. I couldn't redeem myself with getting the cycle. That's too bad. Do I have to... The cycle is quite a tough one to make. The low gravity is really a change from the entire game, so it's quite difficult to adapt from that. If you were to only run this category, of course, you could grind it down. However, I just did the other category. So we'll be grabbing this, and basically this ending is the same as the other one. But it's interesting now because we did nothing on this save file. So the cutscene will be the same, however we have no cubes. So yeah. What are you gonna do about it, aliens? We broke your system. So yeah, that's a bit of revenge on the aliens. They broke our universe with a crash at the beginning. The fake crash, of course. Now we take revenge by completing the game with 0%. And the run ends actually on the same spot, leaving the room. So we'll have to wait for this crash to pass. It's here you can actually see it looks more like a real crash, because in the speedrun mode the timer is always there. However, of course, in your playthrough suddenly the game starts a fake reboot, and if you're on full screen especially, that's jarring. So here the room is coming up, and this will be the end of FEZ. You can see the drum kit here in this room. He'll be playing that in the credit sequence. And this is time. And this is... I know how to do the glitch. Otherwise I wouldn't have put it up as an incentive. However, this is actually the first run I've done of this 0% glitch. You can actually see in save management. It says 0% on the bottom one, but we just got the credits. So yeah, this is a first run for me. So technically 2 PBs in one run showcase. That's a cool result. Thank you, BSG, for letting me show FEZ again. It's really cool platforming. Definitely play it casually yourself. You'll lose a lot of time on it, but it's real fun. The puzzles are really interesting because of the 2D, 3D mechanics. And even if you don't do the teleporting I did, the platforming is still really interesting. So that's it for me.